I would die if I thought it meant the Brits would hesitate going to the grocers or sending their wee kids off to school in the morning. Nobody would die.
Say Nothing is a masterpiece. This show is going to be one of the breakout hits of the year because it poses a question that is scarily relevant right now. Does political violence work? And it paints a captivating portrait of Dolores Price and her friends from the 70s to the 2010s, a portrait of the true cost of political violence. So if you enjoyed Say Nothing, or if you're trying to get a perspective on today's world, watch on. Because why exactly does Dolores go from being willing to die for her cause to regretting it all?
You can call me a difficult woman, but I couldn't live with the silence.
But here's the thing.
That all my life I thought joining the IRA was the noblest thing a person could do.
We're told right from the outset that this story is a tragedy.
And I think people should know that it's all lies.
So, does political violence work? Say Nothing gives us the answer in the first episode. But by announcing itself as a tragedy and dropping us right into Dolores' life in the 70s, it asks an even more important question. Why do people turn to political violence? Because Dolores Price starts as a pacifist. She chooses nonviolence. She hands out flyers for voting rights. She marches in a peaceful protest. She plans to get the heck out of Belfast. And she confronts her IRA father at the dinner table.
Since when has going on a walk ever changed anything?
Gandhi with the Salt March, King in Alabama.
Well,
so, how does Dolores become radicalized? Well, she's surrounded by oppression and discrimination every day.
It was a segregated society. Everything was rigged. Jobs, housing, voting rights. It all went to the Protestants.
And then their peaceful protest is attacked by a Protestant mob. An attack that was enabled by the police. The attack results in riots by Catholics. Those riots result in the British Army coming in. Dolores' father has to flee. The army trashes their house, and Dolores joins the IRA, from pacifist to radical.
I looked into the eyes of the people who was beating us.
This spiral, it's more than just the inflection point of one person. As Joshua Zetumer, the showrunner of Say Nothing, says, it's the inflection point that happens when a deeply polarized society tips over into violence.
And they were glazed over with hate.
And we experience it through the eyes of Dolores. She can't see any other way.
And I thought to myself, I'm never going to convert these people.
And I think this is the terrible magic of Say Nothing. It doesn't observe from the outside. We experience radicalization through the eyes of Dolores. And here's the crazy thing. Her story, it's a thriller.
We are liberating funds for the Irish Republican Army.
It's a pulse-pounding action adventure like Ocean's 11 or Star Wars. A bunch of scrappy underdogs trying to take down the oppressive state. And their righteousness feels so right. They're fighting for a better world. It's exciting and romantic and fun because Dolores, Marion, Brendan, and Jerry, they're kids.
I think about 10 times more celibate than you.
You are 10 times more celibate. Shut up.
They're out robbing banks and then going home to live with their parents. They're flirting with border guards and then getting drunk the night before a bombing campaign. Back to the showrunner, Joshua Zetumer. We wanted to capture how it feels to be someone in their early 20s who wants to change the world, who gets caught up in a cause. That youth and fervor. I mean, who knew being part of a paramilitary organization could be so funny?
Relax, relax, we're liberating you.
Could you not have waited until they liberated my appendix?
You'd think that this would be a dark time with all the violence, but as Joshua describes, it was also a moment when these young people felt most alive. And that's the mind-bending thing to get your head around. Just a bunch of friends having drinks at the pub, toasting each other, and celebrating their latest success. Like after-work drinks. And so, for the first 5 episodes of the show, you know deep down it's a tragedy, but it feels like a thriller. You want Dolores to succeed, but on some level, you also know this isn't right. Just like she does, because she hesitates. And Brendan reveals that he does too.
I reckon they're all some mother's son.
And so you cheer as they liberate a prisoner from the hospital, but also they shot up a hospital. And you cheer as they get one on a British spy program, but also they shot up a neighborhood. And you go in full-on Ocean's 11 mode as they sneak around London. And then the bombs explode and maim hundreds, and you're reminded, this is a tragedy.
Listen, my whole family has suffered, and I just want that fear to live in their hearts too. You know?
Dolores is consumed by her righteousness. But how exactly does bombing London create a united Ireland? How does almost dying in a hunger strike get them there? So here we arrive back at the question we started with. Does political violence work? And if the first half of Say Nothing is a high-octane thriller, then the second half is The Hangover. 20 years later, Jerry realizes that the answer is no.
I'm here for peace talks. I'm a negotiator.
And Dolores, Marion, and Brendan, they can't reconcile the horrible things they did with the peace process. Their justifications fall apart.
Well, it was for nothing, Dolores. It was a fucking nothing. That one death was worth it.
There's this quote I love from Patrick Radden Keefe, the author of the original book and producer of the show. I want to get so close to these people that your nose is pressed right up against the human ambiguity of it all. The human ambiguity of it all. Like Dolores and Brendan, who think they could have lived with themselves if they'd gotten their dream of a united Ireland, who don't want to give up the armed struggle, yet are haunted by the things they've done.
I feel like drinking this week in particular
Repentant
because of my friend Joe.
and unrepentant at the same time. And Jerry, an incredibly controversial figure, but also perhaps the only person who could have brought the IRA to the negotiating table. There are no easy or satisfying answers. And that's what makes Say Nothing such a remarkable show. It's based on such meticulous research, including the Belfast Project tapes. And instead of trying to have a specific point of view, it just shows us what happened. It shows us the legacy of political violence, which is a legacy of broken things. Broken families.
10 of them came to our flat and took away my mother. They were members of the Irish Republican Army.
And broken people.
And the people who launched the boat, they're left behind, sitting in the fucking muck and the dirt.
This shot of Brendan is so haunting. A tired man, full of regret, who doesn't see himself as a hero. So, what does Say Nothing make of the IRA's fight? Was it just? Did their violence work? Say Nothing has nothing to say. It just shows us what happened, and through its brilliant storytelling, helps us see through the eyes of the people who lived the history. We see how a deeply polarized society causes a pacifist to become a radical. We see the youthful fervor of Dolores and her friends, and we see how the cycle of violence never ends.
Hi, Dolores. I have another one for you.
We see the hangover and the regret. Part of what motivated me to make this video is just how timely this show feels. The threat of political violence feels so much more alive today than at any other time in my memory, and that's really scary. So perhaps Say Nothing actually has a lot to say. In the words of Patrick Radden Keefe, there's no simple message. The hope is for it to be a prism that can give insight into some of these issues by looking at a different conflict in a different place, in a different time.
It's like falling in love, isn't it? You know, at first it's so thrilling, and then in the end you've done and said so many terrible things that there's no way to fix it, you know.
I'm Kapil. Thank you so much for watching.